All right, hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar for DayTradingRadio.com, and I am going to put out one of the kick-ass videos of this month, starting off in September here. First of all, I want to go over some trades from last week and show you some great setups and why they're great setups and why all this comes together in the long run. Why this works. I'm excited actually to do this video because it's a new month and we kicked ass last week on the 10 for 1,000 watch list. A lot of these plays are still in play, and I want to go over them. I want to actually just throw out a lot of stocks that are set up and why they broke out. It's more of an educational video. I'm also working on the 10 for 1,000 watch list, which I will send out later today, which is even better because it has all the new setups on it. So we're going to go over some of the old setups here. Here's the 10 for 1,000 watch list for those out there not members of the site. And yes, you should be members of the site for only $24.95. First time I ever plugged that, probably in 3 years. But yeah, you get all this good information and stuff. And you know, at least come by and check it out. There's a free trial, 2-week free trial. But the important thing is 10 for 1,000 watch list. It goes out every Sunday night, and these are 10 to 15 stocks that are set up technically to really make a move in the market that following week. Now, what I do and how I trade, I'm a high probability setup type of person, meaning I wait for the best setup in the market so I can get in on the lowest risk but the highest percentage of reward. So I want to have the biggest bang for my buck, and these are based off of a series of indicators. And I'm not I'm not afraid to tell you what the indicators are. I'm not afraid to tell you what the stocks are. I mean, because we're all in this together. We all want to make money. I'm not trying to get rich here. I'm trying to get rich trading stocks. And so this is why we do this. So I'm going to break down this last week's watch list and actually break down exactly the system I use and how I got those stocks and why they moved. And then after that, we'll put out the new list. So I hope you enjoy this watch list. We're going to start off. And again, another thing you can actually, let me see. Well, we'll start off with some of this watch list. So APKT here. Let me actually switch over to the charts now. All right, we're going to start off with Take-Two Interactive. A great stock we picked up on the lower trend line because that's what we do. We pick it up on the lower trend line to define pattern. You have five indicators: stochastics, moving averages, trend lines, chart patterns, support and resistance, and candlesticks. Rounded off with number 6. But because it was on the lower trend line, it looks and the stochastics pulled back under the 20-point, or at least we had an area where we were been embedded for just a little bit, knowing that we're basing out here. Looked really good, and again, off to the races. Decided, saying, hey, what's the target on this? Very simple. Do not get greedy. What you need to do is just stick to the system. And the system says when things get overbought, you get a little out, and when things get oversold, you get a little in. And you work it that way, and you continue to take profits. So again, got out of Take-Two Interactive into the earnings. Very good trade. Right at the trend line. It's actually formed a great channel here. We'll let it play out, and we'll trade it again. A stock that I announced, this was probably the best bet going into a midweek alert that I sent out to the members. And this was called Monster Worldwide. And just an update on that because that's in play right here. Great setup. Went into the jobs report. And what I did like about this is a nice little wedge pattern here. We can show you this on the charts here later on. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. And you can see the nice little falling wedge. Very beautiful wedge pattern here. And again, a wedge pattern is an indicator. It's a signal. Of the patterns I look for. You're looking at the wedge pattern, you're looking at the channel pattern, you're looking at an inverted head and shoulders or a head and shoulders or some type of W pattern. There's many other patterns I like, slanted patterns, but this is one of the more important ones, the wedge pattern, and there's actually a couple good stocks on this week's watch list in this wedge pattern. So again, looking for this to break out, but the first target would be this little downward trend line, and you can see the stochastics getting a little overbought here. So you might run into a little resistance here around that 1250 area and consolidate. So you already got a nice gain on it. You could take it off the table. What I would do is, depend on what type of trader you are. I think this one's going to break eventually out of this wedge pattern, but there's probably going to be a pullback to the 20. So if you're going to deal with holding it, or you could sell it there and get into the next setup that's down here. And that's what I like to do. Rotate. Get in on a lower trend line or in a pattern or the multiple indicator setup, the high probability setup. Get out when it tells me to get out. Rotate that money into the next stock because these stocks are always setting up. And when you develop a focus list or a watch list each week. You want to keep these on the radar, know exactly if it hits the top part, you're going to be back in it when it hits the bottom part. And this becomes a business. It doesn't become, going to the casino each day. You're waiting for your plays to set up. Your plays are set up. Oh, okay, now I'm ready to get in this one. I know where I want to be. I know exactly what I want to do when I get there, and I know the next setup already. So, again, that's what I do. JOBS, here's one similar to that one. Continue to move up here. I didn't follow that one. I just wanted to show it to you. Off the watch list, APKT. We'll speed things up a little. Acme Packet, APKT. Great chart here. What I continue to try to find are these stocks that are showing divergences between the stochastics and the price level. And when I talk about divergence, different ways to read stochastics versus the price at that time. When I see a stock in a trend, you see the stochastics pull back. The trend continues to remain intact. Meaning we have a higher highs and higher lows, or we haven't broken any technical levels. So again, you get a pullback oversold, but you're holding the 50-period moving average. That's a buy right there, and it continues to be each time we pull into oversold and we hold that recent low. And that was why this was such on the radar, and that's why we have to continue looking for these setups all the time. These is the money makers right here. This is the ATM machine. So that's a great setup on the 10 for 1,000 watch list, and continued and broke out and hit its target. And BAP, another one on the 10 for 1,000 watch list. Again, I showed you that just before. And again, the same reason. This is a little bit different. A trending stock holding the 20-period moving average. The stochastic started to embed here, meaning it's going to be upside strength. This one hit its target. BCSI. Now, why did I pick BCSI? Because, recently McAfee was taken out. This is a security company. It hasn't really gotten a push here. So a little, again, this is off the 10 for 1,000, so go back 5 days. Seeing a push above the 20-period moving average. Stochastic starting to roll up here. Feel really good about it. Now it continues to actually move. Took profits. But I still love this one. Get back in it. No problem here. And I'll probably end up getting back in that one this weekend too. This week. See what next one we have. BAP. Did we go for BAP? We already went over that one. BAP. HRS is a new one here. HRS. This is off the 10 for 1,000 watch list last week, and you could actually see, what I liked about it is, again, another example of stock divergence where a stock is making lower lows. When you make those turn downs on the stochastics, and you're going to follow that stock down. You're going to say, oh, all right, here's a low, here's a lower low, here's a low. But once you start holding off the recent low and the stochastic get back down to an oversold level, that starts to give you a little divergence, meaning there's no longer lower lows with the lower lows on the stochastics, but you got to pull back, and now you have to start moving up. And this puts you in a place where you start to develop pattern recognition. You can see the slanted inverted head and shoulders. You start to read the momentum. You watch other things. You put everything together, and you come up with your buy areas. So HRS still in play for next week. Still like it. IDCC. Interdigital. Like this one a lot on the 10 for 1,000 watch list, but it didn't trigger. 2690 is the trigger to 2595. I had it a trigger probably back here, and I kept it on because I still, this one got hit with something, and I said, well, we'll keep it on the watch list. If it comes back up to this level, I definitely know it's going to have strength. I definitely think it's going to go back to that level, so I'm going to lower my buy trigger on this in the watch list, and it looks very good. IDSA. IDSA, again, a high probability setup on the watch list, and again for this week too. So a couple bonuses. Instead of me putting out the big watch list, I'll put out that in a couple hours. That's a couple bonuses. I can tell you that will be on the watch list. Not the best ones though. These are not the kick-ass trades. Kick-ass trades are like you'll see what those are. So let's say PAY here. Verifone off the 10 for 1,000 watch list. Hit the target. This is another multiple indicator setup. And again, with the education, with these videos come education. I'm not going to help. I can't help but just give you this education. This is good stuff. Again, when you get oversold in the stochastics, you continue to watch that trend line moving up here. And then once you start to establish a trend line, that becomes an indicator. Then you have recent support and resistance and this X marks the spot right there is so important because there's multiple indicators setting up right there. One of them is the most important, the stochastics. The second one is the 50-period moving average. The third one is an upward trend line. The fourth one is recent support and resistance. That whole area right here is a multiple indicator setup. And from that move, we got that level. But the important thing here is the stochastics, people. All right? PAY. FRX. This is another great example of divergence. This is another way of reading stochastics. And again, I used to do you got to do a whole seminar on this thing. But I will. Downward trend line, sideways action, the stock price at break. How many of these stocks that I've given you in the last 3 weeks? These type of setups. Very good setups. ArcSight, before even rumors came out. VHC, the last one. And I tell you, I'm excited for this week. You hear it in my video. This is like the kick-ass trade of the week. VHC, we got back in it on, well, added to it actually on Friday. Just because I see you can see the intraday strength in it. I know the news out. I do my research. I know what the possibilities for a stock like this are. So again, probably will take it off early this week, and probably the kick-ass trade going to do next week. I'll just give these out. I don't know why. You should be joining the site, but that's okay. Everyone's doing kick-ass trade. DGX here. Why do we like this? Why is this going to be one of the best performers next week? My name is DayTraderRockStar, because we have first of all an established trend line that goes out at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. All right, 5-month established trend line. Each time we came down into an oversold position, it wasn't the best signal, but that's why you have to add up some other signals to it. But what we did have is, we have an area of oversold stochastics there. We have an area here and an area here too, and we got an area here, which we're right. We kind of did break down to that 44 level, but we kind of recovered real fast, and it did make that lower low here, which I do think is going to hold. But what I really do like is the strength of the stochastics as we approach. Now, usually when you get a sell signal, you want multiple sell indicator setups. So you want to come up to a trend line. You want to have overbought stochastics and maybe some other recent something else. But just that combination right there, trend line, 50-period moving average, and overbought stochastics tells me it's going to pull back down. And we continue to push up against that trend line. And at this point also. But at that point, at the trend line, the stochastics told us we're overbought. All right, so overbought and the trend line. At this point, we're at the trend line. We're at the 20-period moving average, but the stochastics are just starting to move here. So we have the momentum maybe to break here. So that's going to be very important. That's why I like this one a lot. This is DGX. All right. Can't go much more into that. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, pass it on. Pass it on. Come by the site, DayTradingRadio.com. I'm on the air every day at 8:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, calling these stocks live on the radio, showing you how they set up, where to take them. You'll see the live trades. If you remember, you see actually the trade alerts. Follow the portfolio. Everything goes on. All right. See you guys later. DayTraderRockStar signing off and getting back to work to put out the 10 for 1,000.